Previously, on Seeking Sister Wife.
Samantha then asked the most telling question. Is Miriam willing to convert to Christianity and still be in her family's good graces?
So, Miriam, do you intend to convert to Christianity? How will your family feel about that?
What do you mean? I'm not going to convert to Christianity.
Wait, are Muslims not Christian?
I thought Muslim was a kind of food.
Damn it, not again, Garrick.
It's a train wreck. It's a train wreck. But maybe they can turn it around.
Hello, welcome back to the recap. My name is Angie, this is my husband Tim. Morty's over here. So to get straight to the point, I didn't expect this to be the last episode. When we found out that this was the season finale, I thought to myself, I'm going to have to make the animation that would have been for next week for this week. So if you're watching this is most likely a Friday.
Yeah, when we found out, I was making a Danielle sad face, which is also what's called a smile.
Because for season 2, it was 11 episodes and then a tell-all. And on the 11th episode, they had a preview for the tell-all. For season 3, I think it was 13 episodes, and for season 4, it was 14 episodes. So I was fully expecting season 5 to have 15 episodes and a tell-all, because as per the route of Sister Wives, they keep on putting in more and more tell-alls and putting in more parts to the tell-alls. So I was expecting there to be at least one reunion episode, and we didn't get that. So after watching the entirety of this episode, I thought, okay, I'm gonna have to rework the schedule.
So at the end of this episode, instead, we got an Animal House, where white text on black screen telling us what happens. I probably liked it better that way, because I can imagine an entertaining way of telling that story that would be more entertaining than however they decide to convey it.
Because it seems that after everyone's storylines ended, each family tried to put in the effort to say there are still things that are happening after what you've just seen. It's like there's a competition between the Ryans, the Sherwoods, and the Salahuddins to be that last spot for season 6, saying, pick me. There's still things going on in our lives, because obviously, the Marifields are definitely coming back.
Oh yeah, also they had the craziest of the Stand By Me end credits, so.
To your understanding, what family do you think is going to be axed? What families do you think is going to be coming back?
Okay, so obviously the ones on the chopping block are going to be the
Sherwoods, Ryans, and Salahuddins?
Yes, it's one of those 3, maybe more, are going. They all have pros and cons for their storylines.
Because I think they tied up the Sherwood storyline pretty well. Shane is cancer-free. I don't think we need a whole season dedicated to whether his surgery was successful or not. That would be a little anticlimactic.
Yeah, because I think they've already showed us that, right? They each have pros and cons. With the Sherwoods, the con is that these 2 are sad sacks with the charismatic energy of garbage water.
Oh, really? Tell us how you really feel.
Anyway, the pro for them is that it is in fact the wife who wants a sister wife.
The wife that wants a wife.
And so the husband is relegated to the position of the sister wife, which is slightly different. That's the 2 balance between these guys. I don't think they're going to make it. Then there's the Salahuddins. The Salahuddins, their whole thing is their
mother hates their lifestyle.
I mean, yes, she does. But I was going to say that they're the black family. who are the other people?
I think they were the Snowdens, the Clarks, and I forgot the other African-American family where I think the guy, the husband, he worked in the government and he had a very tall wife and they were dating another woman who was the same height as her. It was a weird juxtaposition because he was really, really short. I just looked up their names. They were the Epps. That was the family in season 4. Marcus, Taryn, and India Epp.
And so for inclusivity reasons and for having a larger demographic, they would make sense. That's their pro. Their con is they're really bad at this. Then there's the Ryans. Their pro is that...
Nothing. They have no pros.
Is that they might commit crime. But their cons are that they're super ultra sad sacks. I think the Ryans are going to go unless they can dangle a really juicy sister wife already in the works, which is what Stephanie was supposed to be, but they couldn't even give us that.
Because the Ryans reminded me of the Foleys from season 4, where I think, what was the guy? I forgot what the guy's name was. He had a wife named Brenda who was Latina, who was apparently the second wife because his first wife divorced him, not while he was polygamous, while they were monogamous. And the much, much younger woman they went after, I think her name was April, was also Latina. And obviously Justin has a thing for Latina women.
And then obviously...
They only had 1 season, so I think the Ryans are also a 1-season family. Yeah, that's our verdict. I don't think the Ryans are coming back for season 6.
I think that if you can't bring an actual sister wife in, you need to have the charisma to make up for it.
Mm-hmm. Becky and Justin are not it.
No. But anyway, yes, so we don't think they're going to be here.
Unless they are able to pull off some sort of crazy shenanigan involving...
illegal stuff?
Okay. Don't do illegal stuff, people. We're not trying to promote that.
No, unless you film it and then it's really funny.
And also the controversy with Becky's father, now that that has come out of the bag.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think TLC want to be associated with them.
They don't want that much heat.
Mm-mm. So let's get to season 5, episode 13, Seeking Our Forever. So let's start off in order of how they appeared. We have the Davis family.
One of the things is we've learned a bit more about the Davis family and Jasmine in particular that makes this episode even more groan-worthy.
Okay, so everything I say is alleged right now, except for the part with Jasmine. For the alleged part, someone on Reddit who was able to look up public records, which I'm not sure how to do that using the internet, said that during the season the Davises were introduced, the picture with Jennifer and April supposedly holding a marriage certificate wasn't a marriage certificate, it was a marriage license, which is the document that says that you can be married to each other. Not the same thing as a marriage certificate.
No.
But that Redditor claimed that they did look up their public records and that Jennifer and April aren't actually legally married.
They have the license but never actually had a marriage performed.
So I don't know how to look up public records. I tried to Google, are Jennifer Davis and April Davis from Seeking Sister Wife legally married? And the information that Google could tell me all came from the show.
I think you have to pay money and then the government will perform a search for something.
Oh.
Or maybe you have to have a license or something. It's not just as easy as asking. They have to have somebody actually find the certificate and stuff.
Okay.
If somebody did an official inquiry, they should have come up with something.
Because I thought that certain databases were public on the internet.
I'm not sure.
Because I know some people are able to get real estate property records from reality TV stars' lives. I don't know how they are able to do that, but if that's the case, this whole storyline with, is Danielle okay with being legally married to Jasmine, is so...
bunk.
Because April and Jennifer aren't even legally married. Why even have a legal marriage to begin with?
That wasn't even the thing I was talking about when I said we learned more about the Davises. I'm talking about Jasmine specifically.
Yes, so word has gotten out that the Davises were dating Jasmine since 2021, and she probably stopped dating them around the time that Jennifer was about to go into labor and she didn't want to have to complicate things, which is why she left and then she came back. But instead of introducing her as an old flame that they want to start something up with, they propped her up as a completely new woman that they met through a dating app, which, why do you have to do that? Your true story was fine. There was nothing wrong with that.
I think the reason is, and I don't know if I should save this for later with the Davises, but I don't think they ever were actually intending to date her. I think she was a plot element in Danielle's story of, look at me, I stood up for myself and everybody supported me.
That does seem to make sense because if it wasn't for Jasmine, the only storyline was Danielle moved out for one episode. They would have just been booted off the season if they came to the producer and said, we got nothing for you.
Because sneakily, I think the producers were onto something here when they had us all worried about Danielle the entire season. All of us thinking, oh, she's not being heard. Nobody's listening to her. She's not talking out loud enough. Oh, they're just steamrolling her. They're just steamrolling her. And then we get to the end of the Davises' whole storyline. And the moral of the story is, look at us. We're not steamrolling Danielle. And we're such a good family. I think that is too clean of a bow.
With how the ending seemed to pan out, because again, when someone brought up the dating profile of the Davises, it did seem to appear Danielle wasn't in the mix. Maybe they just haven't updated it yet in 4 years before they even met Danielle. Maybe she's still with them.
I don't know. Or she isn't. Who
knows?
I don't care. It's all fake. And that's the reason why I wanted to bring it up, because it completely
invalidates all of their scenes.
Or at least gives them a different spin. I mean, if you know somebody's lying, sometimes it can be entertaining to watch them lie. We'll talk about Justin later.
Okay, we start off where we left off. Nick and Danielle are still in the jacuzzi. He's asking her if she's okay with them dating Jasmine.
It's pretty excessive.
Danielle says that she's fine with it, but Nick's suspicious of her answers because the last time she was this compliant or agreeable, she got her own apartment. He asks if she has had enough time to herself to think about what she wants for her. Danielle continues to say that she's good with dating Jasmine, and that's when Nick says he wasn't talking about Jasmine. He's specifically asking how Danielle is feeling. He then brings up the aspect of legal marriage to this potential person, which
is, completely moot at this point.
And then Nick kisses her as she gives her answer. Danielle just says that she's used to having the power to make her own decisions.
That's scary. She should still have that.
Yeah.
Does she mean she was in a situation where she would make decisions that only affected her as opposed to decisions that affected the entire family? Or, I don't know. I thought this was edited strangely.
Because in the last couple episodes, she kept saying how she tends to go with the flow almost all of the time. She doesn't stand up for herself. And now she's saying in the segment that she's used to having the power to have sovereignty over her life. I don't know what that meant.
And then they seem to edit it because she then says something else that's unrelated. Very confusing.
What was it?
She was saying, I'm used to having the power to ask, Danielle, what do you want? Danielle, what do you need? I just love you so much, Nick. Give me a kiss. And wait, there's a beat missing.
Oh, I didn't catch that. That's probably how it went. Either way, she agrees to go forward with the courtship. They then start to make out in the hot tub.
Is this the action they were talking about last week?
Yes. This is what they wanted to do instead of 3 questions.
And there's only one Nick, unless other things were happening. And we get a really tight shot of... of
the camera zooming in on Danielle's butt.
And we were laughing because we thought it was over the top. We thought that it was bad, but then it went even tighter. It was...
Anyways, awkward. The next scene is them piling on the gigantic bed.
In full makeup.
Yeah, they pretend to turn in for the night, even though they haven't washed their face yet. At least I don't do that.
No, nobody should do that. That's terrible for your skin.
That's how you get acne, at least for me. As Nick is kissing all the women goodnight, you said this segment looked like a scene from a Saturday Night Live skit.
Having them all in one big bed seems like a Saturday Night Live skit that could have been made about the Browns when Sister Wives was really popular. It's just too ridiculous.
It reminded me of the intro almost for My Five Wives, where Brady is waking up and then going back to sleep, and then a new wife is kissing him as it fades to white. That reminded me of that, where he's kissing everyone. 8 hours or however many hours later, it is now morning. Jasmine appears to be the first one up, and then she wriggles out of the sheets like a caterpillar. She is sneaking under the covers and reaches the bottom of the mattress as a means to not disturb anyone.
I don't buy it. Because she then puts on her thing. She still has her falsies on. Then Danielle is there, also awake, saying, "Isn't this convenient? The two people who have the most interesting dynamic to film right now are the only ones awake. So we can talk and it won't be contrived at all."
We just have to admit that everything is contrived here, or at least is a reenactment. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. It doesn't have to be authentic. Maybe this is what actually happened, but because it's real life, you can't always have those dynamic, spontaneous conversations. Danielle's preparing a latte or some chocolate drink or whatever. Mm-hmm. They go out to the patio to chat. At this point, Tim asks, does Danielle know Jennifer and April aren't legally married? Because she's about to ask Jasmine, how do you feel about me potentially being your legal wife?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
First question Danielle asks, what is your outlook on all of this? And Jasmine doesn't think there are any problems. Danielle then questions her, what do you think about you possibly moving in here with your son? Jasmine, again, agreeable as ever, says she envisions the future and that as a possibility. She doesn't dwell on that too much because they're still getting to know one another. Danielle takes the conversation in a different direction where she starts to explain to her about all of the difficulties that come with being a sister wife.
We basically looked at each other and said, is she trying to scare her away? Because that was the energy.
It does appear to be that, but then again,
it doesn't matter anyway if she wasn't actually
it's a
supposed to be
storyline.
there. Yeah.
They just needed Jasmine to fill in the time.
Just to be a warm body.
Danielle says to her, everything seems all rainbows and unicorns, but that's only because of the hard work we've put into this dynamic. Jasmine looks like she's still waking up.
She's like, skip to the point.
In her confessional, Danielle says it looks like Jasmine was trying to not engage with her. She looked very detached.
I thought just occurred to me, maybe Danielle didn't know that Jasmine was a plant.
She didn't know April and Jennifer were legally married. She didn't know Jasmine was a fake sister wife, but her emotions were real.
Yes.
I can see that happening.
That makes this interaction make more sense and also make it way more effed up.
If they're treating Danielle like a child who doesn't need to know anything.
And they're concocting a fake situation in which Danielle will be ejected.
They're making her go through this anxiety when it's unnecessary because Jasmine isn't even
really there to become part of the family. What I'm thinking is they were doing it to convince Danielle to stand up for herself. That's why they kept asking her, Danielle, is this really what you want to do? Danielle, is this what you want to do? Because they wanted her to say...
Wait. Hold on, I just thought of something. I think Danielle is in on this because in the pictures of Jasmine that was circulating in June 2021, there is a picture of them at the table. Danielle was in there.
Maybe she knew about Jasmine being an old fling, but didn't know that they weren't seriously courting her.
I mean, there are pictures.
No, I'm saying now. Danielle knew that they used to go out with Jasmine, but didn't know that Jasmine wasn't actually trying to get with Nick now.
She thought that her intentions were true.
Yes. All of it was so that Danielle could feel like she was validated at the end.
Okay.
I don't know. That sounds more interesting than what we saw.
We always have to piece together this puzzle ourselves, which is so obnoxious. Danielle says that she was displeased with the patio conversation because she felt her vulnerability wasn't being reciprocated, and she has doubts whether Jasmine is a good fit to be her legal wife. Then we get more people on the scene. Nick walks in. He's wearing his bathrobe. He kisses Danielle and hugs Jasmine. Then April, Jennifer, and Vera walk into the shot. Vera was wearing a very cute pink bonnet. Nick starts off the discussion saying that he liked the adult sleepover because having 4 women in the bed is a very new and fun experience. It's the biggest grin on his face.
Oh, he's always got a shit-eating grin. His smile is Cheshire-like. It just keeps going.
The man can smile and he knows it. Jasmine pantomimes her bed escape maneuver to the 4 adults. They laugh. April says she's never had to do that before. So when she wants to get out of bed in the middle of the night, she just rolls over the adults that are in between her and the bathroom.
No, she's always on the end.
Oh, I thought she said that she was in between Danielle and Nick.
Either that or they wake up before her. I was thinking that maybe the middle wives are going to be the new basement wife, the one who's getting the short end of the stick because they have to squirm out, whereas everyone else has to get up like a normal person.
It's kind of like a pros and cons. Pro, you get to sleep next to Nick. Con, you have to wriggle out like a pupating butterfly. Danielle then says, Jasmine is spunky and fun. We just have to see where this relationship goes. This is in the confessional, by the way, and after she says that, April looks at her for 5 seconds, which didn't amount to anything because obviously, as we'll see later, she is on board with Danielle's decisions.
It's just an editing thing.
Jasmine leaves. She explains that this part of the courtship is a period of information gathering. She wants to spend time with everybody individually and as a whole to get a sense as to who they really are. I'm going to be very, very nosy.
I guess. But you were voted off the island.
So, bye, Jasmine. Nick tells us that he is very attracted to Jasmine, but he is still dependent on his wife's decisions lest he get too blinded by Jasmine's beauty. That's when Danielle then flinches at the camera. In the next segment, the family is eating dinner. Nick is wearing a silky red-orange shirt with a black vest. And this is when you said he looks like he's wearing a vampire medallion around his neck.
Yes.
It looks like he's getting dressed for a Halloween dance.
And it's hilarious. They get food from, it looks like BJ's. So they've got breadsticks and ziti, or I think
pasta.
One of them got Alfredo, and they're in styrofoam boxes, and
Nick is the only one that puts the takeout onto a plate.
Which is a choice. It's fun.
You said that you really do believe that Nick dresses like this every single day.
Oh, I think he does. I think he gets off on it.
Because when we first saw him matched with Vera, because she was wearing pink and he was wearing a pink dress shirt and slacks, a lot of us viewers said, there's no way he dresses like that just to stay in the house.
I think that's his thing. He likes that.
Moving on, Jennifer mentions that his drink matches his outfit.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to Nick's vampire medallion, it reminded me of, again, the same Reddit post that was talking about the tea on the Davises. They did mention the quote from last episode where Nick said, do as thou wilt as the whole of the law, or something like that, which is a saying from Aleister Crowley's teachings. I think their belief system, and I think this goes a little bit with Nick's Insta bio, where he tries to combine in the Lemmic ideology the idea of mysticism and quantum mechanics.
I don't know why they didn't just tell us this from the beginning.
Because that's kind of crazy if you put it out there that you believe in this esoteric religion.
What's really crazy to me is that this guy has a strange religious community combined with the fact that he has these women that pay for his upkeep, and he's more successful than anybody else.
Why you think the non-mainstream religions is going above and beyond in terms of polygamy than, say, the Ryans or the Salahuddins?
Yeah, this stuff can be off-putting to people in addition to the polygamy aspect, and he's beating everybody else so bad. Everyone else just sucks at this.
There's so many weird factors that are going into it, but Nick is still able to, as we'll see later, obtain possibly a fourth wife. What is attracting all these people to their micro cult?
I still think Garrick's cult is worse.
We'll get to them, where they're not able to bring in any women from his vision.
All failures.
They discuss Jasmine. Jennifer likes the fact that she is unique as them. She has a lot of characteristics that are complementary or is compatible with their beliefs. Now it's Danielle's turn to give her opinion. She says that there was nothing wrong in what Jasmine said or what she did concerning their couple of dates and the sleepover per se, but she's not head over heels in love with them, which is how she feels about these three, Jennifer, April, and Nick. For that reason, even though she does think Jasmine is a cool chick and she likes her, she doesn't want to go forward with the courtship. They just didn't make that connection. That chemistry wasn't quite there. It's now April's turn to speak, and she says that she is like-minded, or she's at least validating Danielle's reservations. Nick does admit that he was hoping that they could go forward with dating Jasmine, but he can't override what his wives want, or at least what the majority of his wives want. Danielle then backtracks on her verdict, saying maybe she just needs more time to get to know Jasmine because her
compulsive
complacency is chiming in again. Immediately after Danielle says that, Nick is very quick to object to her assertion. He says that it was instant attraction when he met Danielle and I'm assuming his two other wives. If it isn't like that for Danielle and Jasmine, then that is a sign that they shouldn't pursue this. April agrees, saying the connection with all of them was instant and effortless. Then Jennifer seconds it, or thirds it. She didn't give an explanation as to why she didn't want to go forward with Jasmine either. They always brush over her. I don't know if that's editing purposes or maybe she's just that quiet.
Maybe.
During the dinner, Nick is smiling, saying although he's not able to date Jasmine, he is happy that Danielle has found her voice and is able to stand in her truth and her own word. The music people certainly want us to believe this is a win.
Yes, there's all this happy, good feeling sounding music.
Despite not going forward with Jasmine, all four of them agree that they still want to seek out a potential sister wife, and they all gather for a group hug.
I propose that this was always what they wanted to end with. The galvanization of the core family, and that Jasmine never was an actual possibility.
It seems that way. I mean, storyline-wise, it hits all the beats or something.
It hits all the beats, yeah.
But, again, it's not authentic, so what's the point?
It's still more entertaining than anything the Ryans did. Except for when they drove cross-country to visit that poor woman.
Yeah. At least something happened to the Davises, even if all of it was fake. But in their little Stand By Me black screen with white text end credits slide, the narration goes on to say that they are dating a new woman. Danielle has happily made the decision to stay a Davis, and she is optimistic that this new woman could be the wife for her. Again, Jasmine was never a candidate.
I guess now is as good a time as any to say that the Max app on the TV kept trying to close the show because they thought that this was the credits. And so we had to keep canceling it out so that we could
read it.
Yeah, so it would zoom back in so we could read it.
Because I kept pausing it so I can take the notes, but every time it would pause, the screen would go back to being on the top left again, being very small. Like, stop doing that. So that is the Davis storyline. So now we go to the Marifields. So their portion begins with Miriam and Garrick. I think they're staying up a little while longer to have a chat.
And a drink.
Garrick pours her a glass of wine, and they sit by their cozy-looking fireplace. They both sit on the couch in their living room, and Garrick decides to sit. Well, first he sits right next to her, and And then he goes this close.
That's more comfortable.
I don't know why he was that
Close? I know why. This was the last night Miriam was going to be here, and he wanted to seal the deal. This worked with like 3 other women. It's going to work with Miriam.
He does sit that close to her, and he puts his hand on her knee. So Garrick says that he is very attracted to Miriam, and he tries to compliment her body type, saying she is a full-figured, curvy, dolled-up woman. Garrick says that's a commendable quality since some women don't know how to do that. Putting on makeup.
Some other women.
We've seen Danielle putting on makeup in the taxi before she went to go see Garrick and Natalia, and it looked good.
It might be the whole outfit thing, because Miriam likes to go full on, tight pants, tight this, chest out, little jacket, makeup, hair, all the works.
That's possible. Well, we'll see that later because they have that same Instagram photo framed in their house.
Who does that?
I don't know.
They downloaded it off of her Instagram.
So it continues the conversation. He goes, I really like you a lot. Then Miriam tries to veer the conversation away from herself, saying, good, I like everyone a lot too. I enjoyed my time. I think in her confessional, she said that she's not comfortable with being touched right now. She'd rather have her potential husbands get to know her personally before being physical with her. Garrick goes, what do you want to do? Do you want to make a baby? Because that's what everyone wants to do for me.
That's what they always do for me. You see, Danielle did that last. I wasn't even trying to make a baby that time. It just happened.
They talk about Miriam's career aspirations. She wants to be an esthetician. Garrick says that they should probably team up on that.
And she's confused. We're confused.
Because he says that he's somewhat of an artist himself. And then in his next line, he throws us off saying he would like to design women's clothing, which was a curveball for me because I thought he wanted to be a designer for either chandeliers because he designed his own chandelier in the kitchen, or obviously jewelry.
I was going to say ugly jewelry.
But no, he wants to do women's clothing. He goes, you might be my fashion model.
And she laughs so uncomfortably.
On the topic of women's clothing, she asked him, what would you do if I were to wear my traditional Muslim attire, which is the hijab? Because I'm planning to wear that at some point in the future.
She said hijab specifically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Which really threw us for a loop because we were under the impression that that's something that you start wearing when you're a preteen.
I remember going to middle school with a Muslim girl. In 6th grade, she didn't have one. But by the time she was in 8th grade, she started wearing the headscarf. So I'm not sure what age Muslim women have to don it, or maybe this is sort of a situation where you wear it when you feel called to wear it. She's taking a more liberal approach where you wear it when you feel you should wear it. It was confusing because Miriam does tend to display attributes that she wants to be strong in her faith. The not eating pork is one of them, and now the hijab. But it also seems that she drinks wine, so I don't know how much she is super, super strict on. I mean, it's not my job to police her religious devotion. It's just a thought that I had.
Yeah, to the point where I'm thinking that maybe she's just effing with Garrick.
Because, I mean, it's possible she wants to join a family and them being a mixed faith one. But again, she's trying to impose that Garrick and Danielle, and I'm assuming their 2 sons, also not eat pork if Garrick and Danielle marry her.
What I'm thinking is that she doesn't want to be part of this family and she's giving herself an out.
She's just on here for clout.
Mm-hmm. Also, Garrick's response isn't good.
Oh yeah, he goes, well, if you wore that, I'd just go, where's my beautiful wife at? And that made me think he's probably confusing a hijab and a burqa.
Yeah, and then he says he would tear it off. And I'm like, oh boy, no.
He tried to make his sentiments of tearing the hijab off as romantic or endearing, but it just had this gross feel to it. Miriam does assert that she is definitely planning on putting it on one day, and that's when Garrick's expression becomes wide-eyed and staring at the ground. It was almost like the music of Hello Darkness, My Old Friend was playing. So this was an awkward scene. Garrick doesn't elucidate on what he's thinking, but he clearly doesn't want Miriam to wear a headscarf. Miriam does try to allay his fears, saying she doesn't have to wear it in the house. And that's when Garrick goes, as long as I get to see you. Again, you can see her even when she's wearing it. And then in his confessional, Garrick does claim he wants to learn more about Islam since he doesn't know what he's talking about. Then we get into the weird part of the conversation where Garrick wants to enlighten us about his younger days when he was a wild, bad boy playboy.
Oh, yes. He founded a gang. As gang as you can be here, this upscale...
Colorado? Small town?
Yes.
Miriam isn't buying this. She asks him, what did you do that was so bad? He goes, I started a gang in town. And then they show pictures of him in a football jersey holding a Nokia phone.
A flip fold.
He tells us he would shake people down for money. He'd have people pay him for protection or stuff like that.
He looks ridiculous, and...
Well, what's also ridiculous is the name of this gang, which is the Always Thuggin Krew with a K.
Thank God the subtitles got it right for once.
Well, that's because Garrick had to specify how it was spelled.
The Always Thuggin Krew. I don't know.
It was at this point you said, he's such a white boy.
He's such a white boy. And that's basically what Miriam said. Miriam's like, oh, look at him. He's so cute, pretending to be from the big city.
Because he does go on to say that he would put decals on the back of his truck with, I'm assuming is the gang name. And again, Miriam thinks this story is hilarious. She doesn't buy this rebel bad boy story he's trying to sell because she thinks that he's just being a spoiled little rich kid pretending to be in the big city. And this is Judah Garrick still living in his hometown, the place where he and his family have resided in for 6 generations.
I'm getting the sense that the reason why people let him do this stuff was because everybody knew who he was. And they're like, oh, that's Garrick. He's the Marifields kid. Don't mess with them because the Marifields got money.
Yeah, that makes more sense than him scaring anybody with his football getup. The dubious woman tells Garrick that she is feeling attracted to him, but if things were to progress between them, she wouldn't want to stay here. Garrick then offers to buy her a separate house. She denies that, saying the issue is the town itself. Garrick thinks he can show her the benefits of a small town and, in due time, change her mind. But she is firm in her decision to not stay in Buena Vista since she would be the only person of color in that town.
Yes, and that's also the reason why Garrick doesn't want to go to another city. Because he wants his city to be safe. That was one of the things he said was, oh, I'm going to teach her just how much more safe a small town can be.
Oh, but isn't it rumored that he moved his family down to Brazil?
Well, I mean, for this new hot chick, I guess he's willing to sacrifice the safety of his family, I guess.
I think he mentioned it's a good place to raise kids. I didn't realize he brought up the safe aspect.
Yeah, he brought up safety at least twice.
All right. Anyways, the conversation ends. She heads off to what I assume is the sister room to hit the hay. So Garrick's opinion of Miriam is that he thinks she's standoffish, and he doesn't know if that's her personality or if she's being more reserved because it's a cultural aspect of her where she has to be a bit more rejecting of his advances.
No, I think it's a her thing. Especially when she was listing off all of the other people that she's been with. No, it's a you thing.
It's a ick thing.
It's an ick thing.
In the next scene, everyone is preparing for Miriam to leave them. Danielle says, it was a quick trip, huh? And Garrick goes, It was quick, but it was good. And he's probably still thinking about the hijab. Or he's upset that he didn't get any sex from this trip. Because he's just saying, yeah, it was good, but quick. They are getting Miriam ready to drive back to Denver so she can get on a plane back to Michigan. Which, by the way, in the last recap, my brain was discombobulated. So I accidentally said that she was from Chicago. She's from Michigan. Sorry about that. Michiganian, Chicagoan. Sounded the same in my head. Danielle repeats that she is closer to Miriam than with Natalia, but she wishes she could be close to both.
Oh, if only this sorted itself out naturally.
Garrick still wants to pursue some relationship with Miriam. We see Danielle and Garrick's sons assist Miriam with her luggage, which we haven't seen them in a while, so I tried to discern what parent they looked like. To me, they both took after their mother. And I think that's to make up for the fact that their sister looks like a girl. Garrick. She had
the eyes.
And the ears and the hair. Danielle does admit that if they moved forward with Miriam, it would create some not so good things with Natalia at this point.
I mean, totally unavoidable.
Then Garrick says Natalia is not engaging with the fact that there's going to be a potential sister wife. He's trying to tell her on screen, you can't just ignore it anymore. Your problems are really coming out. You need to deal with them and love as a family. I'm a little nervous that Natalia might not be willing to do that.
It's clear that the wife that gets the most favor from Garrick is the one that's most on board for the plan at any one point in time.
Because it was at this point you said that this is A+ level manipulation coming from Danielle because Danielle didn't want Natalia, but she wasn't allowed to just come out and say it because that would be going against the will of God. So what happens is that she's engineered a situation in which Natalia is now the bad wife, / is acting against the will of God, / is in the doghouse.
Danielle gets what she wants and also is praised for it.
So I just wanted to say, hats off to you, Danielle. You are playing Garrick like a fiddle. Then in the next scene, it fades out to a shot of their house with the text, 3 weeks after Miriam's visit. We get self-shot footage of Danielle being forlorn. She says, things are really sad because things are not good with Natalia. A lot has happened in 6 weeks. Miriam was such a good fit for our family. It then pans to the framed picture of Miriam in her gym outfit.
So nonsense.
And then Danielle continues to cry. She goes, I know God's in control of it. There's a reason, but it's just disheartening that we're fighting with Natalia over this because Natalia's having issues with them courting Miriam. She goes, I'm just praying so hard this all works out because I really love her. I just want to have a sister. I just want to have a friend. We'll see what God does. This scene reminded me of that scene at the end of season 4 when Danielle was crying. She had a really strong reaction to Roberta having broken up with them over the phone. My opinion when that happened was, but you brought Leah into this, or Leah, the woman they were dating in between Roberta and Natalia, and I'm thinking, this is the exact same thing. You are so not upset by this.
I was impressed at her ability to cry. If Robin could have cried that much, she wouldn't have nearly as many people hating on her.
Then we get black screen with white text saying 3 days later, Natalia sent the producers a video message.
It wasn't that interesting.
Yeah, she basically accuses Garrick and Danielle of lying for having Miriam into their house. From what I understand, they did hide that part from her because they didn't want any distractions. But she did know of the friendship, and she said, oh, Danielle, you can handle it, and I'll step in if it blossoms into something more serious. So I guess they did lie, but I think Natalia also knew that Garrick was to be getting another wife at some point.
I think the thing she was mostly mad at is that they were supposed to be focusing on getting her to the States before getting another wife.
because I think her exact sentiments was that she was dissatisfied with the addition of wives before ensuring her entry into the US / living with the rest of the family. She continues to talk, saying Garrick also demanded total submission from her, which is not what she agreed with. She must not have read the plaque in their room where, again, it says, "And thou shalt obey the words of my mouth."
Thou shalt submit and comply to the words of my mouth.
Which, again, is not an actual Bible verse. This is coming from Garrick's own brain.
It's a cult. He's doing his own Christianity spin.
Oh, we'll get to him converting someone else to his
Oh, it's bad.
cult. Natalia outright says she is no longer in a relationship with these two.
Good for her.
Then Garrick and Danielle try to defend themselves, claiming that Natalia was fine with Danielle forming a friendship with Miriam. And then Garrick, he starts to have his same robotic expression, because usually when we see him upset about something, he becomes red and he does start to leak coolant from his eyes, but that didn't happen. He was just his own version of angry.
It was bugged out.
Because he goes, "Natalia was my wife. I am heartbroken. She's not being a team player for the family. It's better that we got these problems from her right now, because it just shows that she's not willing to grow or mature or change."
I'm sure when the firmware update comes out, Garrick's going to be a lot more convincing.
He can't be a robot, because if that was the case, they would have just installed Portuguese into him.
I guess not.
Danielle and Garrick do state that they're still going to date Miriam, and that's when Danielle says, "Garrick is still such a great husband."
Slow clap.
And then Garrick goes into his whole, I don't know, religious talk, saying that God is so great because all that suffering with Natalia is just refining him into a better person.
He's just as
As he was in season 3.
If anything, he's gotten worse.
Fast forward 2 months later, their baby girl is born. Her name is Leia Lily Melissa, spelled with 1 S. Very on brand with Danielle, whose name is spelled with 2 N's.
Ooh, that's so unique.
So again, the end credits comes on, where it does say that they are no longer dating Miriam.
And this is paired with him,
With a video of him baptizing
a black woman.
who apparently is named Lorana, who again has converted to the Church of Garrick. They have also proposed to this woman who,
He baptized on the first day he met her.
and where else does she hail from but
Brazil!
So they are trying to get the K1 visa for her, which I don't know if that, again, worked out, because rumor has it the entire Marifield family is selling their house and that they're trying to live in Brazil.
I mean, she's a pretty woman, and he wants to be near her, so let's just sell a house that I built to get close to that.
The house is being sold. You can see the Zillow listing for almost $2 million. I think it's like the house, and I'm assuming the attachment that Danielle's parents were living in. Are they also coming to live in Brazil?
I thought you were going to say, are they also for sale?
No. Where will they go?
I don't know, but the other thing is, whoever was writing the dialogue for the Stand By Me end slides was throwing shade, and I was here for it.
Why?
Oh, because they would always phrase it in a way that stings at the end. Oh, they're doing this, they're doing this. Oh, where's she from? Brazil! Anyway, I thought that they knew how annoyed we were with these people.
That closes that chapter of where the Marifields are in their polygamist journey until season 6.
Which they will definitely be on. Nobody else baptized somebody else before asking, will you marry me?
You think that'll be in the footage?
Ugh, gross. I hope not.
I guess the Ryans were in this episode too.
Kinda.
So their part of this episode starts off with a full moon. And that's when you said, wouldn't it be interesting if it turns out Justin is a werewolf because these people are so boring?
We had to sit on that till the very last episode. Unfortunately, no. That's not what happened.
Justin is back home from his date with Yari. Becky is putting away the dishes, and it looks like she just got out of the shower, or she took off her beanie or some sort of hat because her hair was really flat.
And it is implied that this is right after the last episode where Yari said to Justin's face, I don't want to be married to Becky. I only want you. The only reason I'm sticking around is because I think you're going to kick that to the curb and stick with the Yari.
We'll get to it later, but Justin is lying the entirety of their conversation.
Yes.
He and Becky talk about how the date went. He talks about the differences between being with Yari and being with Stephanie. He describes being with Stephanie as lightning in a bottle, an instant connection.
It was amazing. He got to have sex with her.
But now he has to be taking it slower with Yari, and he claims that he's cool with it, but
he's not cool with it.
Anyways, he says, I don't think Yari actually wants what he wants.
Which is true.
Justin tells his wife that he had the feeling that Yari wanted a man to herself. And I'm thinking, you're not paraphrasing, or that wasn't a feeling. That was verbatim. Yari said that she wants a man to herself, only her.
Yeah, it's as if somebody tells you directly to your face, you're not allowed to park here. And they say, oh, I'm getting the feeling that you don't want me to park here. That's not a feeling. That's communication.
If Justin just said what happened, it would be fine, but he doesn't for some reason. Then Becky says, Yari saying she doesn't want this for herself makes me think she isn't in the right kind of relationship. She says, why did she keep going out with us for several months? Did she think something would change? And the answer is yes.
And we all figured that out weeks ago.
Justin lies and denies that that was Yari's intentions. Becky is just annoyed, saying, time is being wasted. Why did they let us on the show? She didn't say that last part.
She was thinking it.
But Justin goes, well, Yari likes me. She likes you.
Lie.
This is all just new to her.
I mean, yes, but also partial lie.
At the end of their conversation, Becky says that they hope Yari will change her mind whilst they're dating someone new. She again reiterates that there is no comparison between her friendship with Yari and her friendship with Stephanie, because she doesn't have one with Yari.
Because Yari is just waiting for her to leave.
I don't know. Justin is still acting coy regarding Yari's intentions, even though Yari essentially gave the boot to Becky during her date with Justin. When Justin said, oh, I'm going on a trip to Florida, and Yari asked, is Becky coming? And then he said yes, and she was like this.
Becky, that.
I don't know why he's lying so hard. I think he was just hoping he'd have sex with Yari at least once before they broke up. Because that was able to happen with Stephanie, apparently.
Yes.
Because Becky was accusing Stephanie of, oh, now I have to be tested now because you probably spread something to Justin. I don't know.
Have you gotten to the bit where it's the talking heads?
Okay. So in their talking head, they say that there are people that need a warm, happy, safe environment, and we are happy to provide that for them. It's like they're trying to petition a new shelter animal to come into their home, like a rescue or something.
Yeah.
I think this is what they meant last episode when Justin said, we don't care what kind of woman is making a commitment to us as long as it's anyone. Desperate much? It should matter what kind of woman is committing to you. I think this goes back to, again, with Danielle and Becky and all these women that just want some sort of close friendship with a woman.
We get to a point where Becky starts talking about how Yari might come around after some time, and does she even know that we want her part of the family? And you just see Justin's face is just like, yeah, totally. I didn't just lie to you. The viewers all know that I lied, and I'm just sitting here like, yo, yeah, I totally didn't lie.
He's such a husband being all dishonest like this. Like, you know that this footage is gonna be aired back to Becky.
When I was watching it, the thought that occurred to me was, What if I could put myself in
Justin's shoes.
Ugh.
I want to bang another woman, but my wife is also desperately seeking a friend.
And she just wants a friend. And this woman here wants to bang me, and also she can't stand Becky. I mean, I have to do some mental gymnastics because I couldn't even fathom the idea of wanting to bring a sister wife in on all this. But if I somehow was in that position, I'd be thinking to myself, no, I want Becky to be happy. And so I'm going to tell her respectfully, I'm sorry, but if you're not interested in having a loving relationship with my beautiful wife, Becky, then we're not interested in you. It was nice meeting you, Yari, but this will be the last time that we're going to take you out to nachos. Goodbye. But no.
He doesn't do that because I don't think he really loves his wife. He just wants to get in with some strange. Because, again, he's lying throughout all of this. He's hiding the fact that Yari said, I don't want to share my man. I'm not chomping at the bit to do this because jealousy is a thing.
It's clear that Yari wants to bang Justin, and Justin wants to bang Yari. It's just that Becky is this albatross
around their necks.
Yes, and I don't know. What's his plan here? What's his end game?
I think it's kind of like a Garrick thing. Because remember in the beginning of the season, he said that he could have any woman he wants on a one-night stand, but they're looking for a commitment. He just wants to have a sacred mistress. He just wants this adultery of his to be fine with God. So it's in...
Did Garrick actually say that?
Huh?
That he could have any one-night stand?
No! Justin said that.
God. I mean, maybe if any woman he wanted was, I don't know, troglodytes or something.
God. Anyways, their last part in the season is the Stand By Me text where they're apparently on a beach in what I think is Florida. Mm-hmm. They're still dating Yari despite her lack of commitment to them.
Yeah, that was the text. Despite her lack of commitment, she's still here.
And she is happy to have Becky tag along some of the time until she can push her out.
Push her out, off the boat. Is she waiting for her to die or waiting for Justin to leave her?
This is annoying because, again, Yari is wasting their time again. She doesn't want to be a sister wife.
Does Justin really want a sister wife, or does he just want...
He just wants two women. I don't know why Becky is still going along with this. I mean, she did say that she and Justin were the most patient people ever.
I'm getting the impression that Becky didn't want Justin to sleep with Stephanie, but Justin made it happen and Becky just patienced through it.
Yeah?
Yeah, and that maybe Justin's trying to do it again.
Justin already tried to portray Stephanie as if she was already a wife of his. He kept on going on about how he was so committed to her. In last episode, he brings up how he was fully there with her when she had surgery, that he's committed to Stephanie as much as he did with Becky.
Anyway.
I don't know when it's okay in their courtship where they can be intimate.
Boing.
So, I don't know why Yari is still hanging out with these losers.
Well, maybe she's planning to bump off Becky. Or maybe she just wanted a free trip to Florida.
She does have a demanding job, as we learned in last episode.
Whatever that is.
The last two families we'll go over is very short. Again, it's just where are they now? So for the Salahuddins... Oh, no. I want to end on most boring. So Let's start with the Sherwoods. For the Sherwoods, they are shown on what I'm assuming is Axe Throwing Wednesdays. Mm-hmm. Shane and Ashley are no longer in touch with Sarah, and they have been stood up and catfished while continuing to seek
a wife for Ashley, which they didn't clarify earlier in the...
How were they catfished? Did they just think the woman did not look like her profile picture? Or were they like every other family on the show where they just stood up again?
Well, I mean, they wouldn't have said catfished if it wasn't hilarious.
Maybe we'll get that next season.
Anyway, that was boring.
And then, finally, most boring, the Salahuddins. Nyla and Naeem are in the same pool hall that they met Alexis in, and they're dating a new woman named Ebony, and they're planning to meet her for the first time next month. Not sure what month this is. They are still on tense ground with Jamila.
So what we took away from these end slides were that these were the...
Families on the chopping block.
Well, yeah, this was their attempt to sell the show on giving them another season. I think it's funny with the Salahuddins. If Ebony's even real, she could stand them up again, but there might be one. Ooh.
The only woman they've dated was Alexis. Miss, I like pink fruit snacks.
Tastes like sugar.
I like the ones that taste like apple juice. It's a tie between the Salahuddins and the Ryans. Who's going home?
I wish it was the Sherwoods, though.
Oh, yeah?
Because they're so boring. At least with the Ryans, they're pathetic, but like entertainingly pathetic.
So that is the end of, I guess, season 5. There was no preview again for a reunion episode.
Or anything?
Okay, so after this, I'm going to have to work on my animation, which you have already seen. Again, you don't care because this is the future.
Yeah, you're the future. Hello, traveler.
So thank you for sticking it out for this whole video. Here's Morty. And we will see you.
I don't know, when something else terrible hits the airwaves.
Hopefully we'll see you in the spring premiere of Sister Wives. If not, then I'll try to think up of something we can recap.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Aww. Say bye, Morty.
Good luck.
You just let him sit down. He's
Okay.
He's okay. He's all trembly.
I think he's still thinking he's getting a bath.
Oh, no. Here, let's put the thingy on him.
Okay.
You like this?